Streaming is on.
So planning for the support lines and life support. Obviously, if we go with the new umbrella uh, showcase, we're going to need to have a new website.
Mm-hmm.
We also
We already have. Do we already have a website? No, we don't. There's no old website.
yes, there is an old website. It's one of the
There is.
original websites, so it's really bad. You want me to link it now, or you want to do that later?
Yeah, I mean, just if you have it,
Well,
you can link it our website. We can do it later. No problem.
it was the original centerpiece for the Community Life Network, so the website is on the Community Life Network, right? Just put it there.
Yeah, I could imagine.
All right. And it's gone, we haven't gotten anywhere with it. We've never launched the life support program, right? So this is our goal, is getting it launched finally. That's what the idea of the Umbrella Showcase website is, that we want to have everything on there that we want to actively launch, and then we're actually working on it. We also want it to be professional and everything. All right, so clear responsibility, or clear responsibilities, right? And it's all about the follow-up, right? The follow-up is what's not happening. And we also need to have clarity on the management and coordination. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I guess to start, in my perception, it's like we need to get Joyce focused on like one responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe step back from her management roles on the support alliance or life support program for now. And if you want to help, you certainly can. You can help with the website. You can help with the tasks and even doing some of the work. But I don't think that Joyce should be the manager at this time.
Okay.
What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, let's try to get one responsibility going well.
Yeah. And if Joyce, what you want to choose is the bills, then let's get you focused on the bills, get those moving forward, and then expand from there. I don't know if Joyce. Okay, cool. So in terms of like what this responsibility is, I mean, basically we could easily put this work under recruitment, right? Because it's a recruitment responsibility, and recruiting people to the life
and
program.
outreach. Yeah.
Yeah, it's outreach and recruitment, right?
Outreach.
So in terms of outreach and recruitment, right, it's called, the original committee was called the ORC, Outreach and Recruitment Committee.
Mm-hmm.
Then now we have NRT, which is a little different because NRT does not involve outreach, and it's just and NRT is in the perspective of the new recruit, as opposed to the Outreach and Recruitment Committee is in the perspective of our needs as an organization.
Mm-hmm.
So anyways, recruiting people of the life support program is the goal. And so the responsibility is follow-up. That's the responsibility, is following up with the people,
Mm-hmm.
and getting them on the same page. So for example, Aaron, so we have our list of people, and we have Aaron, we've got Mel, we've got David, right? So for Aaron, for example, we'd have their status, and we have next steps, right? This is not a good example, but Aaron basically, canceled. The next sense is basically to wait, I guess, ask if he is still in the program, or maybe re-ask if he wants to join in a couple months. 4 months, right? So Mel, right, his status is like, not clear, need to ask to join the program. David, did not express interest, should still ask, right? Let's get everybody. Mel, David, right? Maybe Stacy.
Mm-hmm.
And we could also put their organizations here, right? So this is like, so we said this is the people for org support, right? So we got Aaron. So I can't remember what his org was called. I think it was some sort of like health, wellness.
The awareness.
Mel has good cause group. David's got actually also a health model. Casey has the animal support, animal. Yeah.
Yeah, it's true. Animal shelter or animal program. By the way, don't want to go into that tangent, but did you get any news about Stacy?
News.
I mean, any communication at all from her
Mm,
side?
she on Monday she was on the call, so she showed up at 1 o'clock on Monday on time for the work session.
Oh, amazing! So you had the session with her.
Well, no, we didn't have the session with her. We just checked in with her about the next steps, and Joyce was there too. So me and Joyce and Stacy were all together on a call for about 20 minutes, and then I had to go, and so the session itself we didn't actually get any like long-term work outcomes go, but we did go over the basics and what needed to happen and what the next steps were and all that kind of stuff.
Oh no, not yet. But after that, you said that she was gonna schedule with you maybe on Monday later.
Yeah, I haven't
It
heard
was supposed, but yeah, no, no. From that, I know. I mean, I'm saying after that, did you have any nothing? Right.
make me happy.
All right.
Cool. So where was I? So basically the next question is, as soon as somebody's on the follow-up list and somebody expresses interest in the program,
Mm-hmm.
what, and I guess just to make sure it's really clear, official in program, question mark, right? And it's obviously clear that none of these people are officially in the program, right? Are we all on the same page on that? Okay, there's no, like, even Aaron, who is the most in the program, is now an unknown because he said that he has to indefinitely cancel, right? So we don't actually know his current status. Does that make
Yeah.
sense?
Yeah. Absolutely.
So we are a no for everybody, which is a problem. We need to know, we need to get them yes so that they're in the program. So once someone says yes, what is the very first thing that we do once they say yes, I'm interested to be in the organizational support program?
You invite them to the session.
Kind of. What else? What if they say, oh, I can't make that time?
You follow up.
This is before they join officially the program, right? They're just saying
Or saying like, okay, before they join,
interested.
like before they join, you ask them to join and you want to turn this no into a yes, right? But the moment they say yes, what is the very first thing you do after they join the program? Right. And so
All right.
what Joyce said was to invite them, right? Invite them to the session. Okay.
Well,
So what if they say I can't make it?
You keep on following up on them. Maybe next time they will be free.
No.
so we put them into the invitees list.
No.
That's even before, right?
Well,
We try to make a better time for them. I mean the session happens.
Okay, but what does that mean? What is that? What's the word we use for when we need to find a better time?
Schedule. We schedule.
Scheduling, right? So everybody in the program has a right to vote on the schedule, right? That is a right that they have, and everyone gets a say in when the session's going to happen. But there's only going to be one session per week, right? So when you join the program, you join the program asynchronously. Does everyone understand that?
Yeah.
And then those who are in the program, all right, can have power to vote for the scheduled session. And then once the session's scheduled, those who are able and interested to make it can say that they want to come to the session, and then they get reminders. All right. So those are all the different steps that need to be laid out in the process and the follow-up for, and that's basically getting into the session, right? From there's a whole bunch of steps that happen after the session's actually happening, but we're not going to worry about that, right? For now, we're just follow-up. So do you want me to write all that down again, or do you guys got it, or should we write it all down again in terms of like the steps?
No, I mean I'm taking here some notes, but maybe I got behind. So we say, okay, first thing to do once they say yes, so meaning they join the program. This happens usually asynchronous,
Yeah.
email or social media. So
But
then we invite them to the
everything that we're
session.
talking about is asynchronous, right? So everything within this responsibility is async, right? There's nothing that we're talking about that's not asynchronous. Are you on the same page with that?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's just go through the steps, right? The first step is obviously first is setup, right? Zero setup. Anyways, the first step is you ask them to join the program, right? And you could have a step in between, which is basically like, make a list of anyone who shows any interest. Right? So if they have any type of interest at all, you could add them to the list. But then anyone who's on the list, you want to ask them to join the
Yeah, I
program.
mean this is part of the setup, right? You need the list of who you're gonna ask.
How you're updating the list, right? Make a list. So
Yeah.
this would be update, and add anyone to the list who shows any interest, right?
Yeah.
Makes sense? So you want to update the list and add
Yeah.
anyone to the list who is showing any interest.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean.
Okay, so then the first step is to ask them to join the program, right?
Yeah. So
If
I would
they
write
no,
the goals
then
next
exclude
to it.
them from the list.
Mhm.
Okay, so yeah, that's great. Let's break back up to the goal. What is the primary goal of this responsibility?
The primary goal of this responsibility is to schedule the life support organizational support session.
No.
No.
To
No, I don't think that's
identify.
really the responsibility. I would say that's a separate responsibility, right? So I would actually say that, scheduling the
All right. So
org support session itself would be a separate responsibility,
So
okay, that is good
identify.
to know.
right? But the goal here, let's it doesn't have to be the primary goal. Just list some goals, right? There'd be multiple
Yeah,
goals here. What are
because
the goals?
it's to know who's on the program, for sure. To know exactly to have clarity on who is
Okay.
on the program and who is not,
Have
and who
clarity
can
of
be.
who and is not in the program, etc., etc. Okay, that's good. That's a good goal. It's kind of like an internal goal, but that's
Yeah.
good.
So that obviously what we just said, I think it goes here, right? The list of invitees.
But I would call that a sub goal. But what does that create? So if you have clarity on who is and who's not in the program, what is that?
All right. So the name of the responsibility is following up, right? Following up with the potential with the invitees, potential recruits of the officials. So
And right now we're just focusing on org support, okay? Because
excuse
today
me.
was org support.
Yeah.
So it's time for org support. So we're just focusing on org support right now. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. So it's following up with the potential, following up with the people that are interested in the organization support. That's the name of the responsibility, right? This is the
Yeah.
responsibility.
So basically, the responsibility is follow up. Yes. Okay.
Yeah. So we want to make sure that we don't let anybody falls into the cracks.
Yes, but I don't know if that's necessarily a goal. But let's make sure no one falls into the cracks. So again, these are good sub goals. This is good.
Okay.
I like it.
Yeah.
What else?
So
Just to make sure that we don't skip ahead. Does that make sense to you, Joyce? That last goal, make sure no one falls through the cracks. Do you understand?
No.
No. Okay. So this is a cultural thing. We're using slang here. So
yeah.
the idea is that you don't want people to fall off the cliff. Like you want the person to not disappear, right? So if the person is interested in joining, we want to make sure we follow up with them so that if they did want to join, that they have the opportunity to do that. Because otherwise, if we don't do it well, that person might have wanted to join our program, but they never got the opportunity because we simply didn't follow up with them. So they fell through the cracks. So that's the term that we use. It's kind of a slang, like falling through the cracks. They disappear when they shouldn't have. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. We don't make sure we don't forget about anybody that is interested, and everybody has an equal opportunity to join the program.
Yeah. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, cool. All right. So, but anyways, what is the focus? Like going back into our values and like our core component, like how all of our recruitment, what is the core value that defines our entire system of recruitment?
That we want to treat everybody as a human being, not like
Exactly.
machines.
So in this context, what does that mean in terms of our goal in relationship to the outcomes of this particular, like is the goal about us or is the goal about the individual?
No, the goal is about the treat. It's definitely not about us. It's about,
Yes.
as
So all
we
the
said
goals,
with Moth. I mean, always have priority, right? Somebody that's interested in joining the program or some recruits, they always get priority over
not
us.
necessarily, they don't necessarily have priority, but the point here is that we want to focus on the individual. So what does that mean in terms of, like, if we basically don't ask them, we never ask them the question, we never ask them if they want to join, we never want to ask them if they want to come to the session, that's basically screwing them over, right? They're not going to have opportunity to get support, right? So what is the opposite of that? What is the opposite of never asking them, right? So basically, what are we doing for them?
Communication, communicating with them.
Very good.
Yeah.
But the communication is dual-sided. What is our
Engagement.
engagement? That's a really good word. So what else do we do besides helping engage people?
Ask them.
We support them, we guide them to.
Yes, but what is one of our core values, even within SGV?
Empower.
Empower. Yes, that's what I'm looking for. So the primary goal here is to empower the individual people to get support with their social organizations, right? So they have their organizations and they want to support the organizations, and we want to empower them to do that. If we don't ask them the questions, if we don't give them the opportunity to join, if they don't get the opportunity to schedule, if they don't get the opportunity to come to our sessions and get support, we're disempowering them. We're taking away their resources. Right? So the follow-up is not about us. It's all about them. Okay?
Yeah.
So communication is for both of us. Right? So when we communicate with potential members, that would be a dual role. Having clarity of who and who is not is really for us, so that we know. And making sure no one falls through the cracks, that's getting more into helping them. But the way you prevent no one from falling through the crack is you make sure that every single individual is empowered, right? So again, this comes back to like management in the whole follow-up process. We don't care what their answer is, right? The goal is not to get people to join. We're not paying you by the number of people who join.
Yeah.
In fact, every single person who joined is more work for us.
Yeah.
Right? So there's no direct benefit to us to have people join this program, right? It's all about benefiting them, right? So if someone doesn't want to join, that's perfectly fine, but it doesn't meet our goal. Our goal is to empower them. So we ask them the question, and if they say no, that's perfectly fine, and then we can document that and we move on, right? They were fully empowered. They chose to not join. That is fabulous. That's what they choose to do. We fully support that, right? So again, what we don't want to do is we don't want to do any manipulation. We don't want to like try to con them into thinking that they want to join. We don't want to give them like little like carrots, like, oh, you're going to get all these amazing things by joining, when we don't know what they're going to get out of it. Right? It's not about trying to get them to join and either manipulating them or getting them excited about something that may or may not be actually real. We present the program. They choose yes or no if they want to join, and then we move on to the next step if they choose to join, right? And then it's empowering them. As soon as you take away their power, then you're going against the goal, against our value system, right? So if we take their power away from them by either not following up with them, not asking them, manipulating them, trying to get them to do something that may or may not be what they want, again, all of those things would be against this as well as against our goal.
Yeah. So basically, I wrote here this sentence, but I'm not sure if it's what we're looking for. But so we are not trying to make them join, of course. But we present them the program in the most professional way to empower them to make the decision the best possible way. Does
Exactly.
this make sense? All right.
It's perfect sense. That's exactly what we want to do. Is you just want to, like, as long as our follow up and outreach and communication with them is empowering, we're good to go. Right. So an example would be like they can communicate with us and they can schedule with us any way that they want to. Right. Aaron was like, oh, I would really like a Google calendar invite. Boom, we made one. Right. It's that we're empowering him to make the program the way that he wanted it. Right. That's an empowering follow-up, an empowering way to communicate and work together. All right. So let's say a disempowering way would be like, oh, you're not going to communicate on email. Oh, you're not on Facebook. Oh, sorry, you can't join. Right. That's very disempowering. Like, oh, you're only going to come if you get a Google invite. Well, you're not coming then. Right. It's like that's the opposite of empowering. Right. Another example could be, oh, you can't make Wednesday afternoon. Sorry, you're cut. You can't come. You can't join. That's very disempowering.
Great. Yeah.
All right. So what would happen? So if we ask them to join the program, if they say no, remove them from the list. If they say yes, what do we do?
Invite them to the session.
Okay, and invite them to the session. And we'll say
to have a better decision, to have it.
And what if they say yes? What do we do? What do we do next if they say yes? I would like to attend the session.
Sorry.
You inform them the schedule, the day, the details.
Okay, no, but what do we do? What do we do? That's just a reminder. So reminders is technically a separate responsibility, right?
I mean, sorry. So the question is, what do we do as soon as they say, okay, I want to join the program, correct? I'm interested in joining the program. Is that what you're asking?
Yeah, well, that's step one. So step one, you ask them to join the program. If they say no, you remove them from the list and you say, okay, they didn't want to join. If they say yes, then what do you do?
You send them the details about the program.
Okay, but what are the details? I mean, there's not a lot going on.
But we should have the website. We send them the link of the website.
Well, eventually we'll have the website, but typically they would have the website before they think about joining. That would come in like,
right. So we involve them in the scheduling of we tell them when is the session. When is going.
Yes, exactly. We invite them to the session. Exactly. So what if they say, yes, I want to come to the session? Then what?
Yeah, we ask them if the time is good, if they want to make a new proposal for a better time for them.
That would be if they say no, right? So if they say no, what do we do?
All right, so we make sure that we send them reminders about the session.
Okay, but that's a separate responsibility. Reminders, separate responsibility.
Yeah, it's the other one. Yeah, it's about the session.
So again, this is just the follow-up.
We schedule them.
Okay, we invite to the session if it's scheduled, right? And if they say yes, we do one thing. If they say no, we do another. So if they say yes, what do we do? Or how about no? If they say no, I can't make that session time, what do we do?
Yeah, I mean, if they say no, we try to make a new schedule. We make a new schedule.
Okay, so
make a new proposal.
So, and how do we do that? So if they say no, we offer them what?
By consensus.
We ask them what's their available times, good for them.
Okay, and how do we do that? How do we offer people available times on that, right?
We make options.
Okay, well, let's just say we have a scheduling form / sheet, whatever. We're going to document their answers to the scheduling, and that goes into the scheduling process, okay?
Okay.
So when we're empowering them, all we have to do is empower them and empower them with a vote into the scheduling process, right? So the scheduling process itself is a separate responsibility. You on the same page here? You follow me?
Yeah, I am following. Yeah.
So all that matters for the follow-up is that they have entrance into the scheduling. So here's the link to the form. All they need is the link, right? So we send them the link, right? So as long as they have a link for the scheduling, they're empowered. That's all we have to do. Does that make sense?
Correct.
So if they say yes, what do we do?
If they say yes, we I'm a bit lost. We say yes. We insert them in the attendance list of the session. We make sure that.
Great. Okay. So you can call it whatever you want. So you just called it an attendance list. Okay.
Okay.
So you add them to the attendance list. I don't think that's the best name. I think we have a better name for that, but
Yeah. Not reminders. No reminders.
No,
Responses. We log the response.
I think another one could be a participants list. Session participants list, right?
Yeah.
So it's the list of session participants. Right. So anyways, we can call it whatever. I don't care if it's the attendance list or the session participants list or whatever it is. The point is that they're going to get put on a different list, or they're going to be categorized differently in the spreadsheet. That they are not. There's three categories, right? There's three categories. There's people who have just expressed potential interest. So it's like I'm going into line 55. There's categories of individual recruits, right? So again, we're recruiting them into the program. So the first category is obviously that they're interested. Let's just say potentially interested. Right. The second category is that they've joined the async program. And then the third category is that they've signed up as a participant / planning on attending the real-time session. Okay. So those are the three categories for each individual. We want to know whether if they're potentially interested. We want to know if they want to join the async program. They're in the program, and then if they sign up as a participant, we send them up to the real-time list. Right? Does that make sense?
Yeah, perfect.
Okay. So then, what is step 5?
I think the responsibility it's over at this point, and the step 5 would be to obviously update the team and verification, review and verification.
No.
No. Right.
You follow.
We should have the follow-up spreadsheet.
Well, no, all this goes on the follow-up spreadsheet. And that would be step 0 is like have the follow-up spreadsheet open. Have follow-up spreadsheet open, right? So number 5 is like what you said before, where you want to make sure that they get all the information they need, right? So make sure they get information they need. Ask if they have any questions or other needs. Okay.
Okay.
So basically, if depending on which level, so if they join the async program, they're going to want to know how to, for example, to get into the correct communication group. So if they need to get on the email list, they need to get on the Facebook group, or they want to get on the LinkedIn group, wherever they communicate asynchronously best, that's where we're going to want to help them get into. And then that would be another follow-up step. Have they joined one of the communication lists so that they can communicate asynchronously with the program, right? And then, of course, if they signed up as a participant, we would want to eventually get them into the Google invite, or making sure they're getting reminders either, on an email list or on Discord or wherever they're getting reminders about the actual real-time session. Okay.
Yeah.
And if they have other questions or other things like that. So I think that's pretty much it as far as the follow-up goes. It's much simpler than recruiting for a job.
Okay. I think we should start with
But again, this is like the same stuff that we went over a long time ago, and no one did anything about it, right? We still haven't gone through a single person really, except for maybe Aaron.
Mm-hmm.
But even Aaron, I did it. It's like, so for me, I thought we had gone over this before, but we're going over it again.
Yeah, hopefully it's going to be the last time.
But I think the most important thing that's clear, that makes it clearer, is to make sure it's very, very clear that the scheduling of the session and the reminders of the session is a totally separate responsibility from the follow-up. The follow-up has nothing to do with the scheduling nor the reminders.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Right? The reminders happen as part of the reminders for the session if the session's scheduled. The scheduling is part of our scheduling process, regardless if you don't have a session that's scheduled or a session that needs to be changed the schedule, then you go through the process of finding a better time. Okay? And again, that's a separate responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
So this responsibility is about the follow-up, and it's all about empowering the individuals to get support with their organization in this case.
Mm-hmm.
And just asking them questions. Do they want to join? Do they want to come to the session? Do they know how to schedule if they can't come? Do they know how to communicate, and get help with their org and where they can ask more questions and all that.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. That's the follow-up. So everything starts with that. So it doesn't matter whether we have a schedule or not, right? With the follow-up. The follow-up can happen regardless of the schedule.
Mm-hmm. All right. So, Joyce, I wrote here H47. We need to update the responsibility organizing with these notes. Do you want to do it? Do you want me to do it? Do we want to do it together? I mean, if we want to do it together, it means we do the work. And while we do the work, we update the responsibility organizing. We document the work by updating the responsibility organizing. All right. So.
Okay.
All right. So.
We'll do the work while updating.
Yeah, exactly. So you just don't start updating the responsibility organizing. You can copy and paste everything here into the responsibility organizing, but then we actually do the work, and while we do it, we document and update the responsibility organizing.
Mm-hmm.
So let me know if you want.
So here's another good question.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So no, I just want to make sure that I'm making this my responsibility as well. Right, so I'm gonna be working with Joyce on this.
Yeah, we will work. We will work while working. We update the responsibility organization.
So what's the first thing that you do for the responsibility? For when you're actually doing the responsibility, what's the first thing you do for the work?
I ask for the link.
Well, that's part of the responsibility organizing. So you're going to want to create the link and make sure that's all organized and that the name of the responsibility is organized and everything. But when you start doing the work, what's the first thing you do for the work?
I want to step up for the work.
No, that's not doing something. What's the first thing that you do when you want to start the work?
Ask for the responsibility organizing.
No, that's the responsibility organizing. That's basically what you do to actually get assigned the responsibility and to take responsibility. So you want the responsibility organizing link. At this time, there is no responsibility organizing link as far as I know. So that needs to be created. When you get the responsibility organizing link, you need to create that and you get that all set up. Okay, but then when you actually sit down to do the work, what's the first thing that you do when you're working on the responsibility?
The first thing?
Yeah.
Create the responsibility.
Zero. Step zero. What is step zero? You can see line 38, maybe.
Have a follow-up spreadsheet open. It's create
yeah, but what's the step?
You're gonna
setups.
Setup.
Yeah.
Setup. So setup is always the first part of every single responsibility. You don't want to just skip to start doing work and start emailing and calling people. Like you don't do that, right? You always do the setup first. Okay?
Yeah. And it's good to remember the setup is part of everything we do, right? The session, we do the setup of the session, the responsibility, we do the setup of the responsibility, the process, we do the setup of the process. the steps. We do the setup of the steps, right? Every time we have a step, we usually the first part is we set up the work that we're gonna do in this step. The first task that we do
Set
in the
up the
step.
steps.
Yeah, we always do the setup.
So I have a really good setup question.
Yeah.
Does this responsibility involve Pinda?
Mm,
No.
Okay, let's just take a random person here. Let's start with Aaron. Let's take Aaron.
Yeah.
Right. So if I tell you, hey, you need to follow up with Aaron, how are you going to follow up with Aaron if you're a brand new person, you've never talked to Aaron, you have no idea how do you follow up with Aaron?
ask him
Aaron should express tons of interest. He's the most interested person. You should definitely follow up with him. So how do you follow up with Aaron?
you ask him where we can
I mean, yeah,
communicate with
yeah,
him.
maybe you're right. I mean, the follow-up spreadsheet maybe should be under Pinda because here
No,
we wanna
no,
link his information, right?
no. No, the
No.
follow-up spreadsheet is definitely not under Pinda. The follow-up
Okay.
spreadsheet, everything for the follow-up is fully public.
But so
there's gonna
we should
be
have a Pinda private information
Yes.
spreadsheet.
Yes. So the support alliance and the org support and everything is going to have a contact list.
Yes.
All right. So there's going to be a support alliance / org support contact list, and that is going to be under Pinda.
Hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Pinda, there's definitely a component of this for Pinda to successfully do the follow up, whether it's going to be emails, phone calls, or however you're going to communicate.
Can
with
I
the
ask you
people.
something, Jay?
What?
Can I ask you something, Jay?
Yeah. What?
Yeah. So basically, if you share with me a private Pinda folder, I'm able to work within the boundaries of the folder, meaning I can create new folders, I can move around the files, right? But I
Yeah, we
cannot
have
actually create a new Pinda folder for something new.
I don't know. I doubt you can create a new Pinda folder. I think only.
No, I
think,
cannot. I tried, I cannot. So I can
Yeah.
work within a
we do
Pinda
have-
folder that I am already shared with, but
We do have a Pinda login, so you can log into Pinda anytime you want. So we do have a Pinda login, and once you log in, you can access it. Also, just so you understand how it
do
all
I have
works,
credentials for this login already? I don't think so.
I don't know if you have the credentials, but we can get it to you, right? So there is there's two logins for Pinda. One for the Pinda server, right? One is the admin, right? And then the other is the staff login, right? So there's two logins. So we can give you the staff login. But the point is that the way that the whole system works is that there is the Pinda Google Drive, okay? And then in addition to the Pinda Google Drive, there's a separate shared Pinda Drive. And the shared Pinda Drive is totally separate from the actual primary Google Drive. And the shared Google Drive is where we do everything and store all the information. So it's fully shareable, and we can give permissions to pretty much anyone. But primarily, the permissions are created for internal workers. So that is the pinda.com email, right?
Okay.
So that's the email I can give you access to, right? And we only have two right now. It's the admin and the staff one, right? So
yeah. So if you can give me the staffing login, I would love that.
We'll just make that a priority. I'm not gonna do it right now, but we can do it later. Yeah. But the point is that you don't even need that. All you need for this is just to have a a Pinda document.
Yeah, I can create it for the time being. I can create it under, I don't know, the taxes Pinda folder.
Oh no, I'm just saying it would literally take me 2 seconds just to go on to Pinda, create a folder for support alliance.
Can you do that then? Yeah, this was my other question. If you can do that, if you just can create this folder and share it with us.
Yeah, I can do that. No problem. Just remind me, okay?
Okay.
Anyways, the point is that there's a very important Pinda component of this responsibility. It is minor. You might not even need to do Pinda for this particular situation because I can contact Mel and David and Stacy. In fact, I have Mel, David, and Stacy on a text thread because we text about Stacy all the time, right? In terms of helping Stacy. So
yeah, but we wanna. I'm talking about the contact spreadsheet. Yeah, the contact list spreadsheet. Maybe
Yeah, and when we launch, that'll be important. But right for now, it doesn't really matter. I'm just making sure that for the responsibility, it notes that in the setup, there technically is and will be any contact information that we're working with needs to be in Pinda. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
But in the list, you could for now you can write down who has the ability to contact that person.
Okay.
Right. So, for example, like David, if it's just me,
Uh
then
huh.
you could just put my name in there.
Okay. Okay. Let me write that down.
But then in the contact list, we can put people's phone numbers, their emails, all that kind of stuff. All right. So I think we are done with this.
Yeah, I think so too. Joyce, do you have any other questions? Are you clear? Are you gonna work on it, or no? You wanna just focus on the bills? So please
No, I
let me know what you're planning so that I can adjust myself to it because
yes,
I'm taking responsibility for it.
yeah, we will do the work while doing. We will update the responsibility.
Yeah, no, but my question is so you we will do the work is the team, right? So what I want to understand: are you going to do the work? Are you going to do you want to work on this with me, or you
Yeah,
just want to focus on something else? Just make it clear, please.
I said we will do the work, and while doing it, we will update our responsibility. So,
Yeah, but are you? Yeah, we will. It's the team, right?
Let's
Are
go back
you?
to simple
Uh,
things. Just yes or no. Yes, I'm going to take on this responsibility, or no, I'm not going to take on the
yeah,
responsibility. Keep it really simple, right?
yeah.
oh, okay, that's your question to take the
About
responsibility. Yeah, yes, yes.
yes,
Again,
yes,
you didn't answer it. You
yes.
were like,
What?
yeah, yeah, and it just like rolled off. We're asking you a question, Joyce. Do you want to take on this responsibility, or do you want to focus on the bills and not take on this responsibility?
I want to take this responsibility.
So that was a yes.
Okay,
Can you
thank you.
say? Can you actually say yes too, just to for practicing?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes,
Great.
thank you, thank you.
And I know, I mean, in just like casual speak when you're talking to your friends and family, no one ever says those things. But when you're talking with people all across the world on conference calls by audio that we can barely hear each other, you need to speak clearly and just use direct professional language, which is, yes, I would like to take on this responsibility. Like it's very important to learn to speak clearly because when you're talking to people all across the world, people have very different cultures, very different communication styles, and like people just don't understand each other, and miscommunication is by far the number one reason why we end up in big problems. Okay.
Yeah,
Yes.
very big
So
problems.
anyways, it's a skill you have to learn, but you do need to learn to talk professionally and clearly and say yes and no as opposed to yeah and okay, maybe, it's like all these other words. And for example, noted, right? Noted is one of those things that, like, what does noted mean? It could mean yes, it can mean no, it can be maybe, it could be like definitely not. I mean, it could be a lot of different things, what culture you're coming from and how it's used. And
Exactly.
clear.
Especially, I mean, sometimes it's about the team, but sometimes, like when taking responsibility, as we said before, it's personal, right? The responsibility first thing of responsibility is personal. You inside yourself are making a commitment to yourself that you're going to be responsible for this, right? So it's important that you say, I taking the responsibility. I am planning to work on this. All right.
All right.
Yes. And I want to say also that yeah, I know that it's different really to be. There are different ways. People are different in an organization to another organization, right? So I am very willing to be taught here, to be trained the way you want. You know, you know what I mean. Not the way
Yeah,
I
Right.
yeah,
want.
yeah,
Not the way I want.
But
yeah.
it's
I
not
mean,
the way that we want, it's just the way that works. Like communicating professionally on conference calls all around the world where you have very different languages being involved, it's just very important to talk clearly and using very simple language like yes and no, as opposed to maybe and yeah and like okay, right? Like those kind of things. Like, yeah, we know you mean that you want to do it, but it's just not clear, right? So it's not about us. It's just about the fact we've been doing this for 20 years and we know it works, we know it doesn't work, right?
Yeah,
Or
that's why I
Yeah,
said that.
no, and
That's
it's
no way.
about the organization's guidelines and protocols. So
Yeah.
what I see here, and I don't understand why. I still don't understand why, because I'm sure that I didn't. I my attitude was not like this when I was hired, right? Because what I see here over and over and over again, people get hired, and with this particular case, or maybe I don't have experience in my work, enough experience to actually give an assessment on that, but what I see is that people get hired here, and they just don't take it serious. They don't take it serious like they would take it like if you get hired in where you, instead of the office being virtual like our office, right? That you get to an actual office. Like they just don't take it serious. I mean, this is something that I don't understand, because the first thing that when you get hired in a job for doing a job, the first thing you try to understand how that organization works. What are the guidelines of the organization? What are the protocols? What are the manuals? The manuals we have are responsibility organizing. So that's what how you go when you get hired. And in here, I don't understand why. I no, I do understand in part why, because we as managers are doing a very poor job of onboarding verification, worker criteria verification, and training. That's for sure. That's maybe 80%. But the other 20, I see the attitude of the people, maybe because it's all online, they just don't take it serious. Like they're not actually joining a real job. And this is something that I don't understand. And I keep seeing that over and over with Stacy, with Moth, with you, unfortunately. I mean, you started in a way and then you just, I don't know,
Yeah,
went the
that's
yeah.
why
opposite way. So this is something that I don't understand why people are not taking us serious. I really don't understand.
that's what I'm saying now to both of you, that I realized that I should really be what you call it, uh, faithful, or faithful, is that the word?
I
Faithful
would
or
say
serious?
I would say professional.
Uh,
I would just say professional.
oh, okay.
If we guide you on something, next time you work, you should take what you just learned and use it, instead of saying, okay, that happened in a session and it's over and it's not applicable anymore. It's there. It's in the past, right? No, you have a session. You learn something more that is gonna improve whatever you're doing next. Well, I see here that it's very compartmentalized. Like, okay, that's the session that happened. It's over. Nothing that happened in that session is going to influence what's coming next. No, absolutely not. It's a process. We are in a trajectory. So everything that happens, it's part of the trajectory and it's moving for the trajectory. So, and people keep going on different trajectories instead of staying on the same trajectory, because I don't know why. I don't understand why. This is something that I
Yeah,
need to
that's why I
understand. I
said
need
that.
to understand why people just don't take us serious. We tell them something and then it's just. I understand you need to tell it one, two, three times. Maybe the first time there was a misunderstanding, the second time they didn't understand. But what I see here is like you can tell them 200 times and then it's always the same thing, and things don't move forward.
So
Yeah,
anyways, I'm really excited about a couple things in terms of wrapping up. I'm excited that we have a clear schedule. I'm excited that we're all committed. The fact that the three of us, as the primary three partners, are fully committed to 6 days a week during Andromeda is amazing, right? So I mean, I
Yeah.
really don't care like how little or much that we know. Obviously, we know that all of us need to get better to be successful. But the fact that we're all committed to checking in every single day during Andromeda Hour 2 is huge, right? And I feel like we can, if we do that, we can solve any problem. So we just need to keep
Yeah.
pushing forward, and little by little, poco poco. So it's just like I think it all came together. In the terms of you know, understanding the vocabulary and the systems and the methodology and the values. You know, one of our most important values is empowerment and, you know, equality and understanding like the differences between people. And, you know, the easiest way for an organization to manipulate people, and especially in the masculine models, is to just pretend like you know how everybody's voting, right? You talk about something, you're like, yeah, how does that, you know, does that sound good to everybody? And everyone, and then one person says, yes, that sounds great. And there's 20 people in the room, right? And then whoever the leader is like, oh, great, so we're all in agreement. And then you move on to the next thing, right? Yet one person said, yeah, that sounds great. 19 people never said a word, right? Okay. Okay. So basically, when we're talking about voting, it's the same thing. It's not good enough to just say like for one person to be like, oh yeah, that sounds fine, right? That's not what we do. Our values empower not just each individual, but the whole group collectively. And so you force people to vote with a score vote and to say yes or no, and to, you know, say 1, 2, 3, 1, 0 to 9, right? And of course, it's not necessary, but it's the only way to have actual empowerment. Because unless someone actually takes the time to vote and put in their score and their number, it's too easy to manipulate the system and just jump on and be like, oh yeah, everyone agrees to that. You know, who cares? Moving on, right?
Hmm.
So we allow that to happen for very simple management proposals, as well as like, for example, our agenda. As long as there's no objections, we move on. We don't have to have an official vote. If there were objections, we would automatically go to official vote, even on the agenda, right?
Yeah, but the problem is that I'm seeing Jay is that I mean 99% of the time is that if there is some it's where when it's not just you and I, is that we do the topics and then you say any objections and I'm the only one answering. So I think that we should improve that, and also with the proposals. Many times we don't. I mean, I think with that we should improve to make sure that everybody that is there, when we are asking for objections, when we are asking for questions, when we are asking for concerns, everybody answers clearly. No concern, no objections before we move forward.
I'm answering now.
Yeah. So I mean, I think
Because
that can be
this
done
this
for
this doesn't happen. This doesn't happen. And
I
for
think
me,
that can be done for
yeah.
specific types of proposals. If we want to say that the official way for online communication is that you do need to go through the room and just double check that
Yeah,
each person.
when we're real time, when we're asking for objection, we should go through. Everybody should say no objections before we move forward, because
Okay,
this is something.
sounds
Yeah,
good.
yeah.
I feel like for like management proposals and things like that, it's not really necessary, or like small proposals. But yeah, when it's like a major decision, like the budget or something like that, certifications,
Uh-huh.
like we definitely should, for sure.
Okay. Yeah, yeah,
So, anyways, we can add that to our protocol. I like it.
yeah.
All right. Anything else on the wrap up? Our schedule is just like tomorrow, right? We just have tomorrow.
Tomorrow's main session.
Yeah, I don't know, Jay, if you feel like having a session later. Well, how you
We can
how?
try. We can try to schedule something. It's fine.
Yeah, I would like to schedule again the investment, because
Yeah.
yesterday I was just not in the. I mean, I know it's not about me. It's we made very good progress. Finally, we worked on it, but my support was really poor. I was not in the right state of mind, and I was also having a lot of environment this
Disruptions. Yeah.
distractions, and I mean it
Yes.
was such a thing that instead I had to be concentrated. I just
Cool.
got yeah. So I would like to
Main session
schedule as
tomorrow.
soon as possible. Yeah.
Maybe session tonight on.
Investment, Boston
That's,
seem.
all right, cool. So, anyways, I thought this session, you know, I'm glad that we had it. I'm glad that all three of us were here. So, anyways, it wasn't the best session though, that's for sure. Anyway,
Yeah.
Joyce, do you want to add anything before we go?
Yeah, I really must be. What did I say? I'm willing to be taught by the two of you. I want to learn more. I want to go deeper to the about the organization because I think I'm shallow. You know. So all this because maybe I'm not very well concentrating about our mission, vision, whatever. So do you follow me?
Yeah, yeah. And
Yeah.
don't and obviously we want to learn from you too. We want to improve everything. The whole process is interactive, and anything that you think is a better way of doing things, we want to know all about it. We want to learn your skills
Mhm.
and keep growing, and evolving, because if we don't, we'll be stuck. So
Yeah.
one step at a time. All
Yeah,
right.
today's session opened up many of my, you know, my eyes.
Yeah. And
Really,
just to go
really.
to go back to the responsibilities, like a responsibility in the name of responsibility is really, 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 really important. And I think one of the things that we messed up last time, I mean, you kept trying to prioritize life support. We never got to it. So this is like the first time we're actually getting to life support and
Mm-hmm.
org support. But for me, one of the most important things is to know what is not what is not in a responsibility, right? So I think one of the things that was the most confusing about the program, and specifically the follow-up for the life support and the org support program, is that everyone kept focusing on the scheduling and the reminders, and that's not what I was asking people to do. Yes, we need to do the scheduling and reminders, but that's not the responsibility of the follow-up for the program, right? The scheduling reminders come afterwards. Those are separate. So it's good to know what is and is not in the responsibility, and that's why it's so important to know the responsibility organizing link. And this is where the manager comes in, where the manager needs to know all the responsibilities, and they need to know what is and is not within each responsibility. So I think that'll help a lot. Coolio. All right. Well, I'm going to take off here.
Yeah. Thank you,
Talk
guys.
Thank you.
Talk to you
Oh,
later.
great. You improved the
Yeah.
policy keeper interval review. Excellent. That's good.
Alberto, let's schedule
When
for this
when
one.
when when
Yeah.
when did we do that?
Hmm?
Policy
Alberto?
go for pause. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm just checking the
Okay,
policy
sorry.
review, the policy keeper review.
And I stand to be corrected. I must be open because
What, Joyce? Can you
every
repeat? Huh?
organization has different policies and no,
Yeah, of
I mean
course. Yeah, of course.
I
It's
stand to be
obviously you
corrected.
cannot